This is Blind Girl Vlog's first live stream, take 2. We're going to speak about some of the technical reasons behind that later. But in the meantime, if you want to support the channel, subscribe to Blind Girl Vlogs. And without further ado, for the second time, it's your mortal Blind Girl Vlog!
A warm welcome. It feels like deja vu. Maybe it is. It's so great to have all of you stop by my channel.
Again.
Yeah, again, and come and see what I'm all about and who am I and why I started my YouTube channel, and hear about all of my questions. And actually, before I get into any of that, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell, so when I upload new content, you'll be the first to know. And how can you get involved? This is what I want. I want you to come and ask me all the questions that you probably never felt able to ask a blind person before. Well, here I am. Whack them in the comments below. I will be answering them. But before I get into any of that, a little bit about me and about my eye conditions and my background. So I'm the eldest of 6. Yes, you heard that right, 6. I know, my mum and must have been very busy. But I wanted to be like my brothers and sisters. Just because I'm blind, I wanted to be like them, to be, well, have fashion, makeup, beauty, and get involved in doing things what all children do, and climb trees and get into mischief. So let's rewind. I was born blind. Yeah, I had congenital cataracts. And at 4 weeks old, I had my first surgery. Now, my mum obviously was beside herself because I was her firstborn. And at 4 weeks old, I was so tiny, and going into having surgery probably was quite traumatic for a young mother, especially being her first. So I was greedy. I didn't just have congenital cataracts. I also had nystagmus. But growing up, I developed glaucoma, which is eye pressure. Now, we didn't find out until I was about 13, 14 years old that I had that. But like I say, I'm the oldest of 6, and I love having a large family. And it means that I was treated like an equal. And my mum and my gran and all of my family and my close friends wanted me to be able to be as independent as all of my brothers and sisters. And I love that because it's made me the person I am today. So I'm so grateful to have had the opportunities to be like any other child and doing all of those things. Now, I went to mainstream school up until I was about 9.5 years old. And then I went to a specialist school for children who are blind or visually impaired. Now, up until I went to a specialist school, I did struggle in mainstream because in those days, I sound really old, don't I? In those days, they didn't really understand how best to support me, and therefore they thought I was a naughty child. Maybe I was just a bit too inquisitive, but anyway, I was put in a corner and basically told to play with Lego because they thought I was a difficult child. But actually, I just wanted to learn, and I wasn't being pushed enough in terms of my academic side. So I then went to a specialist school, and there I flourished because they had all of the facilities that I needed. They had specialist teachers who were able to give me what I needed in terms of the academic side of things. So I was able to start off with large print because I actually did have some sight. It wasn't very good sight, it was poor vision. So in my left eye, I had no vision from birth. And then when I had the operation at 4 weeks old, they managed to save some of my sight in my right eye. So growing up, I did have a little bit of sight. So therefore, going into school, I was able to read the the large print, although it did mean that I did struggle. However, I got through it, and I just felt that I was able to kind of be my own person and kind of really flourish and kind of push myself really to be able to achieve what I wanted to achieve, not only just in my in the academic side of things, but with mobility and learning those real key life things that I probably wouldn't have had, those daily living skills, making a bed, making sure that, you know, you had all the things that you needed to have, like laying the table. I know it sounds like a silly thing, but laying the table, knife, fork, spoon, and put it in the correct position, learning how to cook, learning how to clean. And I think those sorts of life skills really have made me the independent person I am today. Now, why did I start YouTube? Well, actually, I opened the channel, this YouTube channel, back in 2012, but it wasn't until 2016 where I really felt that I wanted to kind of be a platform for people to come and learn about visual impairment, to come and learn a little bit about my life as someone with no sight, because I lost all of my sight at 16. I will go into that at another point. And I wanted to educate people about blindness and to really be a platform and offer people the opportunity to ask questions, because everyone is different. So these are only my experiences and how I live my life, but I wanted to offer that platform, to be a role model, so to speak. And I never had this when I was losing my sight. I never had this when I was growing up. So I really wanted to be a place where people can find out that information and ask those questions. So that's one reason why I started up my YouTube channel, and to document my life, really. And that's where it's developed. And now I have a brand, which is Blind Girl Vlogs. And you can follow me on all of my social media at Blind Girl Vlogs to hear more about how I live my life, what I do, and my work and my guide dog, and a little bit about me, because I think it might be interesting, because obviously we're all different. We all have different disabilities, or we all live differently. So yeah, that's one big reason why I wanted to start my YouTube channel and my social media, is to really raise awareness and educate people about blindness. And you can get involved by engaging with me. You can hit the subscribe button, because it does support my channel. And without further ado, I'm going to ask my director, my producer, to talk a little bit more about the equipment and what we've really done to invest in the channel. So over to you.
Certainly. Now, just to kick off and say, we apologise for a little bit of an earlier issue with the technicals. Just to explain, I'm monitoring things, so I'm hearing everything that's happening about a second and a half afterwards. That means I'm literally hearing the words I'm saying now. So now comes now. That shows you the delay. Okay. Yeah, we invest an awful lot in the channel because we think that it's worth it. The time is 6:44 p.m. We're planning to be with you in and around to 7:30, but we'd have an awful lot to get through in that time. So we invest in equipment, from video capture equipment. We have cameras and tripods and all that sort of thing there. But I do just want to give a shout out here that we have Lynn Nicholson watching on the live stream.
Hey.
Lynn, if you've got any questions, if anybody else has got any questions, please do throw them in there. And it's really important that you consider hitting the subscribe button, and also the bell if you can. So Blind Girl Vlogs here, Blind Girl Vlogs on Twitter. And the equipment that we have, it doesn't matter what it specifically is. If anybody wants to know, it's not a secret, we'll tell you. The point is that the content is, I'll say queen, because king would be too patriarchal, wouldn't it?
It would. Although I'm queen.
Are you? Let's just see how far you're prepared to go on things. We're saying you can ask any question that people want. Do you really mean that? Is there anything that's going to be off bounds or off limits?
No, I say no. I want to kind of be transparent. I want to be open. I want to be honest. And this is this is me, and I want people to feel that they can ask any questions. Yes, it might be a little bit awkward or embarrassing.
Or you might say poke off if they ask something about too much down there.
Yes,
Who knows?
maybe. So I say anything, yeah, within reason. Okay, let's
Okay, so we've got a note from Lynn here.
Yeah.
She's relatively recently blind and limited. She has remaining sight is still, forgive me because I'm using a screen reader. It's still deteriorating, so it's a very hard time for Lynn.
Oh, God.
She says she knows you use both cane and dog. Can you tell me, asks Lynn, the pros and cons of both in your opinion?
Okay, I love this question. Yeah, firstly, Lynn, I'm sorry to hear that your sight is deteriorating. It's a really, really tough one. So the pros and cons of a guide dog and a white cane. So let's start with the pros of having a guide dog. So for me, I feel a lot more confident when out and about, because obviously as someone who is totally blind, I do feel quite vulnerable when I'm going out, because I feel that if I'm using a cane, then I'm having to find every lamppost, every car, every obstacle. And I just feel I'm a lot slower from getting from A to B. And in my opinion, I just don't feel as confident as I do with a guide dog. So a guide dog essentially works on a straight line principle. So they avoid all of the obstacles that I was referring to. And it just feels a lot quicker. I feel a lot more confident. I don't feel as vulnerable. And I'm just able to walk without too many problems or without wondering what's around. And to be honest, actually, I find it really exhausting using the cane. Now, I take my hat off to anyone who is a cane user and uses it really, really well. I just prefer to use a guide dog, and the pros of having a guide dog is that I feel more confident and not so vulnerable. Now, okay, the downside of having a guide dog is that the hair gets everywhere. Okay, now I do have a black guide dog currently, and I wear dark colored clothing a lot. So nobody really probably sees the dark hairs, which is a bonus. But I've had 2 golden Labradors before, 2 guide dogs, and the hair was noticeable. So I always felt like I had to carry one of these little lint rollers around with me to get off any of the hair. So that's one downside. Picking up dog poo. Now that is another one. That's another downside, that is, that you're kind of having to pick up dog poo, which isn't necessarily too pleasant, but we kind of like rock with it. And what are the other the other downside is you can't just throw your dog in the corner like you can your cane and just forget about it. Having a guide dog takes commitment, and they have feelings. They're a being. They need looking after. They need to be have their playtime. You need to kind of be a part of them as they are a part of your life. So there are just a few of the pros and cons, in my opinion, of having a guide dog and using a long cane. Now,
Lynn says, and I know that you know this, we actually know each other from Sight Life in Welwyn Garden City when you used to work for a different vision loss charity.
Yes.
You walked a mile in your shoes that days. And also we should say Lynn commented on a video recently, so we have to say thank you there. Alex Ramsden's just tuned in as well.
Hi,
hey, Siobhan.
Hi.
Hope you're doing well. Alex, ask Siobhan a question, because we need to get this going. We need to encourage people to watch this. We have a few people watching now.
That's excellent.
And we have some more questions.
Welcome to all of you, and thank you so much for joining. I'm excited to be here, actually, and it's my first live stream, but second take. Technology, don't you love it? I do. Even though I'm blind, I use technology.
Even though I'm blind, right? I have to say, that Siobhan was worried before we got going. Could she sustain for an hour? Of course she can. We're actually behind time. There's nothing wrong with that, because this is very flexible. We're the bosses.
We're
the bosses later on. Hey, say again.
I said I forgot how much I could actually
Oh,
draw
I hadn't.
when I was getting.
I hadn't. I thought, oh, crikey, are we going to be able to stop it? Alex, stick a question in the comment. Lynn, stick anything you like as well. We've got other questions that we've been keeping going for a little while. They're both from previous videos. And also people have emailed in or tweeted over the period of time.
Yeah.
So the first question we've got here is, can you tell us exactly what can you see? Is it totally black?
That's that's another great question. So the simplest way that I can explain it, and I've explained this to my nieces and nephews, and when I do talks to schools, is that you have a television screen, you have a wire, and you have a plug. Now it's all plugged into the television, but there's no plug. So there is no signals from the brain to the eye. I don't have that connection. So I don't see anything. It's like hitting your elbow. You can't see through your elbow. So do I see black? No, I don't really see any color, anything at all. It's very hard to explain when people ask, but yeah, there is nothing there there is in my brain, but not in my sight.
So I'm going to ask you about when you dream in a minute, but Lynn, stand by, because she asks how you cope when your guide dog retires, but you do see when you dream.
Yeah, I do. Now, I think that this goes back to childhood memories. Now, I remember very, very vaguely, a very fragmented view of what things did look like. Now, I do dream, and this is really strange, I do dream in color, I do dream in pictures, but it's what I saw back in the early 90s. Now, for example, police uniform is very different now to what it was then, but I imagine a police officer to wear what they were wearing, because that's in the 90s, because that's what I last saw. That's the image I have.
Blimey, I hope they've washed their tunics since then.
Yeah,
so Lynn
exactly.
asks, how do you cope when your guide dog retires? And Alex Ramsden asks, what's the best TV show you are watching at the moment? He says he hates the thought of Blossom retiring. Oh, Blossom retiring. I thought that was a TV show. Sorry. Alex Ramsden also talking about your guide dog retiring. How do you cope?
Okay, so this is a really, really hard one. Now, it's very personal to you as an individual. But for me, when I first had my guide dog, Liza, and she had to retire back in 2011, I didn't know what to expect. And it was the unknown. And I think it's a whole mixture of feelings. It's the emotion of, wow, it's my first guide dog, the first, time that I was able to go out and be independent and live my life to the full. And then, wow, it's all of a sudden, 8-9 years on, it's coming to an end. Now, you can never really brace yourself for that retirement, because yes, it does hurt, it does hit you, and there are no words to really describe the pain of having to retire a guide dog. But I would say definitely reach out to friends and family, and to other people who have had guide dogs or who have guide dogs, because we are a community, and to get that support, it's really important to feel like you are connected. And it depends whether your guide dog is going to stay with you, or whether they're going to go to a family friend or a family member, or whether they actually go to someone who is on the list for retiring a guide dog. So it really does depend on people's circumstances. But yeah, the short answer really is, yeah, it's very hard.
The time at Livestream is 6:54 p.m. But you might be watching this afterwards. Make sure you hit the subscribe and the bell notification so that you hear about future live streams and other content. In the meantime, we'll just add myself. I'm a guide dog owner. I've actually been a guide dog owner longer than you, by a few years, since August 1999. Now, touch wood, my dogs have always retired, and I've gone straight into training a couple of days later. That's highly unlikely to happen this time round. Yeah. And it scares the heck out of me, and I have sleepless nights as a result. Sorry, I'm just cheering everybody up. Next question that we have in there, and keep them coming in the comments, because we're keeping those in mind, please do share that this live stream is happening. Next question is, did you think that life was over when you lost your sight? Blind Girl Vlogs.
I did. I was 16, and at 16 you think the world is your oyster and that loads of doors are going to open up to you, and you're going to go out there and you're going to live your life. And when I lost all of my sight at 16 very suddenly, I really did. I kept myself to myself for a year, and I didn't want to go anywhere. I didn't want to do anything. I really thought that, what's the point? What is the point to continue? I've got nothing to live for. Where am I going to go? How am I going to go to university, or how am I going to travel? All the things that I wanted to do were just kind of like out of reach. All of my dreams were shattered, and I did. I kind of crumbled. I must admit, I was in moments of utter darkness and despair. And a year passed, and it wasn't until I was listening to a radio program where I actually heard a young person talking about their experience of being blind, and that they're going to university and that they're traveling. And actually that hit me. I was like, wow, I could be this person. I could actually achieve the things that this person is doing. So from that, it really turned my life around, and I was able to think that if someone else can do it, I can do it. And I've never looked back, excuse the pun. And here I am, wanting to raise awareness about blindness, and moving on from the year of despair at 16. I now feel that I'm able to kind of like reach out to people and say, look, there is light at the end of the tunnel. Again, excuse the pun. That there is loads you can do if you have a visual impairment or blind.
Is it really inappropriate for me to say that wasn't a pun? It reminds me of the facile response we gave to somebody who'd attacked your TikTok account, saying, fancy having a pronoun in your profile. I think they meant Blind Girl Vlogs, but they misunderstand the difference between a pronoun and a common noun. Okay, so yeah, so back to school for them. Dave Wardell is watching, everybody.
Hi, Dave.
And let's just quickly give Dave a shout out. Dave is an amazing dog trainer. If you're looking for dog training tips anywhere in the country, this is the brilliant thing about the pandemic, and there aren't brilliant things about that too much, is you can get dog training tips. On Twitter, he's just Dave Wardell. If you search Canine Fin on Twitter, you'll find him there. I'm just plugging his dog training side of things.
Yeah, definitely do that.
Dave, if you're watching, leave us a comment. What's this look like in the in terms of the camera? Because we are live streaming. Dave Wardell is also going to be live streaming soon.
Yeah. With
his kit. We've got a hi from Liverpool, by the way, says Marge Barge 100. Marge Barge, I suspect that's not your real name.
I love it.
Is it your real name, Marge Barge?
I love it, Marge.
But yes, give Dave Wardell a follow.
Yeah, he's awesome.
He's been an amazing advocate of guide dogs. Yeah. He's my brother from another mother. I don't know who that mother would be.
Yeah, really, really top guy. So,
yeah.
Hi, Dave.
Okay, so I've got a question. Dave, if you've got any questions, pop them in there. Marge Barge 1 in Liverpool. We'll have a question from you. We've got another one here coming from before, but I just want to say my favourite thing about Liverpool, beyond the Mersey and the Beatles and Penny Lane and all those wonderful things, and I think that's all right. And I think the ducks that used to float in the Albert Dock, I'm not sure if they're still there, but in the shopping centre, it's called Liverpool 1, O-N-E, and there's a shop inside called Liverpool 1, Everton 2. I think that's right. Okay. Linda, by the way, is Gabby's Jen on Twitter. Okay, Gabby's Jen on Twitter. GABBYS GRAN. So Gabby's Gran, I think it is, on Twitter. Give her a follow if you're watching. Any questions in the comments below? Make sure we get people involved with this one.
Yes, I want to keep it like engaging and interactive. So whack the comments in the comments.
Time of live stream is just coming up to 7 p.m. Awesome. Sound like Alan Partridge. We're going to have to ask, what are we going to eat and how are we going to get there? Well, the answer is level 42, the Chinese way. Next question.
You sound relatively like him, which is
Okay. News. Okay, so the next question coming in here is, how can I help a blind person without offending them? I mean, don't call them a beastard. That would offend them. But what's your answer?
My answer would be, if someone looks lost, or if someone is, looking basically like they're uncomfortable, my opinion and my suggestion is always make sure that you go around to the front of the person, because they may have some residual vision and that they'll be able to see you standing in front of them. Never grab a person. That's one thing. Please don't touch or grab somebody, because it's really, really scary. Please don't interfere with a guide dog, or grab the harness, or even grab the white stick. So my advice would be to approach the person from the front, say, well, who you are, and would you like any help? And if the person says no, that's absolutely fine. Some people are quite independent and they don't necessarily want to be helped, but please just ask, because I always like people to come up to me and ask if I need help, because sometimes I do,
Always.
sometimes I don't. What?
Always. You always do. 1 minute.
Yeah.
Excuse me a second. Oh, sorry, dogs. Do you need help?
Yes.
I think what we mean is judge that one.
Yeah. You know, that's just my own opinion. But yeah, never grab somebody. Always stand at the front of them and just ask if they need assistance.
On the commenter box. By the way, are you watching and not subscribed? If you are, hold your head in shame. Subscribe and hit the notification bell. Marge Barge 100 says Liverpool 1 is fabulous. I'm not sure whether she said it like that, but I agree.
I've never been to Liverpool, and that's one place I want to go.
I have many times. I've been there for nice reasons, and I've been there to catch criminals, and that's true. I interviewed a charity thief in Wallasey. In a warehouse, an abandoned warehouse, about his charity theft.
Yeah.
Majority of Liverpudlians are not at all like that, just for the record. But she says Pierhead and the Mersey. This vlog is also fabulous. Sorry, you're probably not saying like that.
Thank you so much.
Dave Wardell, he says, hey guys. No, Dave says, hey guys. It just sounds just like Dave. Hey guys, thanks for the dog training shout out. He says sounds and video quality is great. He doesn't sound anything like that at all, by the way.
Doesn't.
He'd be saying things are fabulous in that way. I don't know. Marge Barge again, 100. She has helped in the past. They were glad of the offer.
Yeah.
And she says, handle down seems to be a signal for help. Yeah. Let's cover this. If a guide dog's harness is down, that could be a signal that somebody needs help, and it could be that you've stopped to reply to a text.
Yes,
so there's that.
It could be. But I think it's always, you know, I always think it's just the nice thing to do is, if someone is standing there, potentially looking a bit lost, even just standing there, just go up and say, are you okay? Do you need any help? It's just a nice human thing to do.
Next question. You're going to like this one.
Okay.
I'll answer it first because my answer's shorter than yours. Lynn Nicholson asks, did you or do you, either of you, have Charles Bonnet syndrome? I'm having fun with mine not. Now, let's just explain for anybody watching what Charles Bonnet syndrome is. It was named after the person, I believe, who found it. When vision decreases significantly, and I think it's sort of under, I don't know, even if somebody loses 40% vision and below, the brain doesn't know how to interpret things. It sparks stuff up, and then you can almost kind of slightly hallucinate or think you've seen another thing. In the past, it's been misdiagnosed as mental illness and psychosis, and it's a very serious condition. So my answer to that's really short. If I have, it was never formally diagnosed. I did, when I was losing functional vision, think like a cat, a pair of socks was a cat and things. And there were all sorts of things I misunderstood. So possibly, but you actually had a diagnosis you're happy to talk about.
Yeah, I did. Yes, I did. When I lost quite a significant amount of vision when I was about 14, 15, I started hallucinating, and it was really terrifying. So I was seeing things that actually weren't there. So I thought I was seeing what I referred to as the green man. And it was terrifying. So it would come and go, and it would appear, and this thing would end up talking to me. I would end up having, thinking that it was actually a real thing, and it really did mess up a lot, because I thought I was going crazy. I thought actually I was mentally ill, and I did actually have to go and see a psychiatrist, and I was under mental health, and there was a lot going on. So yes, I did have it, and it was quite terrifying, because obviously when you're losing a lot of vision, some things are not in focus. You could think that a table is closer than it is, and you're tripping over things. And yeah, it was a very unpleasant time of my life.
We've got a question here on a totally different topic. Would you take a question about your furry beast?
Yeah.
Okay. Question about your furry beast is this.
No.
Is it, you sort of answered this, but let's do it anyway. Really brief answer for this one. We're going to move on a bit on time.
Okay.
Is it okay to stroke someone's guide dog?
I'm glad you clarify. For me, I always like the person to ask me first. I don't mind, as long as I'm in a safe place to do so, and it's not going to interrupt the work, and I'm not in a dangerous position. But please just ask the person first. Don't be offended if they say no. It could be the fact that the dog is very young and very, person focused, and that they need to not be distracted. But ask me, because 9 times out of 10, if I'm in a safe place to do so, I will say yes.
Okay, back to Lynn Nicholson, and she's got serious points again, I believe, back to Charles Bonnet syndrome. She's currently, at least I hope it's Charles Bonnet syndrome, she's currently haunted by mummies. It's really worrying if it's not, of course, from a horror movie, and after a doctor appointment. Thank you, masks. Okay, I'm not sure if I fully understand that, but I believe that's what it says. Yeah, look, Lynn, it's perfectly normal.
Yeah.
It's not a mental health condition. Stick with it. Next question is, I saw a woman with a guide dog in a restaurant, bumbling all over the place, trying to find a seat, asking for help. She sits down, she reads a menu. Is she a fake? Comes in the question.
No. So vision loss is a spectrum. Now, just because I'm totally blind, it doesn't mean that 94, 95%, don't quote me, of other people have some form of residual vision. So just because she was, well, as they quote unquote, bumbling around the restaurant, obviously her mobility is such that, her vision is impaired. So she might have a pinprick of vision, 20/20, just in the tiny center, and able to read a menu. So never judge someone if they're actually able to read a menu, or to read something in the far distance, like a bus number. But bearing in mind, vision loss comes in all sorts of different things. So don't think, oh, well, they've got a guide dog, so they must be totally blind. No, 95, 96% of people have some form of residual vision. Remember, vision loss is a spectrum. Right,
I just have to say, you're hearing some music, and I would have messed up the levels. We're not going anywhere. I just decided I wanted a bit of music, so we're having a play with that.
Excellent.
It's your theme. You're not hearing this.
No.
And I'm only hearing it 3 seconds later, which is why there was a delay. But the reason you're hearing music is we're not going anywhere. We're just going to set up a little bit about what we're going to do in the next of this session. Time at broadcast is 7:08 p.m. We're going to do some more questions in a little bit of a while. You can subscribe here. You can also subscribe to Twitter at Blind Girl Vlogs, and on TikTok and all that nice stuff. Now, subscribers are not just about Siobhan's very delicate ego, and it is a very delicate ego, believe me. She's so easily upset. But it's not really about that. It's about spreading the word about blindness, visual impairment, and the way the YouTube algorithms work is that the more people who subscribe, the more people who watch live streams like this, the more people who see the channel. And so for that basis, Siobhan, with her wonderful theme tune that you're hearing now, can educate more people and answer more questions. Keep the questions coming. Siobhan, just before we move on to the next questions, can you tell us a little bit more about this, not just being about you being a prima donna fuss maker that you are?
No, yeah, maybe I am.
Do you need help?
Yeah, I do need help. I need help. Help me. Yeah, like my producer, the director,
executive producer. Thank you.
Say, yep. Sorry, I slapped my wrist. Yeah, I think
I'm gonna lose the music, by the way.
Okay, I think from my my own point of view is that by spreading awareness, I'm able to hopefully help other people going through vision loss, or friends and family of those people who have vision loss, because from all over the country, all over the world, I'm hopefully able to maybe inspire people to kind of go out and do what you want to do. Okay, now, you know, Sean will be sitting there thinking, we can't be a brain surgeon, you can't be a bus driver, you can't.
I do know a blind doctor.
But have that belief that you can achieve anything. You know, that is the most important thing. Have that self-confidence in yourself, because I know what it was like. I really didn't. I struggled for that year when I lost my sight, thinking that I had nothing to live for. But the opportunities that I've had through losing my vision and being able to go into schools, colleges, youth groups, and speak to people about my journey. And I am only but one blind person. There are so many out there who do such wonderful things like YouTube and TikToks to educate people. But I wanted to kind of use this platform as a way to kind of like reach so many more people, because I didn't have it when I was losing my sight, and I would have found it useful. So that's really it.
How can people subscribe? There are more questions, but how can people subscribe, and why do they need to, like, what should they press in terms of buttons?
Subscribe, hit the subscribe button, and then you can hit the notification bell at the same time. So when I do upload content, you'll be the first to know. And also live streaming, I'm hoping to do at least one live stream a week, because I think it's really cool.
No, you're not hoping, you're going to do one.
Okay, I'm going to do one. I've been told.
At least one a week.
At least one a week, because I'm quite enjoying it, actually. I'm getting into the swing of it. I was really nervous before, because I thought, how am I going to speak for so long? But I've forgotten how much I could really talk if I'm allowed to just waffle.
Right, so we've got another message here from Marge Barge 100. The more people know and understand about vision loss, the better, even the better for, I guess, for sighted people. Right, here's what I want everybody to do. You're going to help us with those algorithms. If you're watching now, just write the word hi in the comments box. Can you do that for me? Just write the word hi. A little later, we're going to send out a photo of the kit that we're using for the live stream on Siobhan's Twitter. Who's going to be the first to say hi? Well, let's have a think. So we've got Marge Barge. You're coming across just fine, says.
Oh, that's nice.
Marge
Thank
Barge.
you.
The first to say hi is Lynn Nicholson. Who
Hi.
else is watching? We've got a Marge Barge 100. Hi again. Anyone? Hi. Yes, give me a hi.
Hi.
Have you seen that? Have you seen that on social media with all the kids?
No.
Yeah, get a hi. Right, what are you doing?
I need to get groovy. I need to get kind of down with it, don't I?
No, all the young'uns do it, right?
All the young'uns.
They say, can I get a hi? And then you say, hi. Should we try it?
Okay.
Right, this is the dogs. Can I get a hi?
Hi. That sounds so weird.
Why you'd want to subscribe, actually, I don't know. But if you want to do that, make sure, because I'd really like to give an update later that we're getting more subscribers. Time at broadcast is 13 p.m. We don't mind if we go slightly over time, but we will not be going much past 7:45, because tonight on ITV, Who Wants to Be a Millionaire?
Yeah,
we've got another hi from Marge. She's really, really keen to say hi, so good on her.
Thank you so much for.
Are you ready for a few more questions?
I'm ready for a few more questions.
Are you sure?
I think I
Hang on, before we get going,
Okay.
do you need help?
No.
So you don't always want to be asked if you need help. Okay, what's the naughtiest thing your guide dog? Yeah, all right. Yes, I'm talking about you. Has done.
I'm not going to talk about Marty, because he's never done anything that bad. Okay, the naughtiest thing that he's ever done, and I wouldn't say it's too naughty, is I had a grill. I've got a grill, and I put some bread on it ready to toast, and I left it on the actual door of the grill ready to put in. And the next thing, I turned around to get the plate, and all I could hear is,
was he a rabbit?
And he snackled.
What's up,
my
Dad?
bread. That's the naughtiest thing he's ever done.
Everybody be very, very
Which
quiet.
Really, it's just opportunist.
Hey, can I just say, by the way, to Matthew Smith? Hey, Matthew, how are you doing?
Hi.
I don't recognise your name.
No, I don't.
It's a very common name. Very welcome to Blind Girl Vlogs. I'm not a girl, and yeah, I would be Blind Boy Vlogs, I guess, but no. Do subscribe if you like the content, because we're trying to spread the word.
About vision loss.
about vision loss. Yeah. Well, no, I want to spread the word about Matthew Smith, if I'm honest. Tell us how you found the channel, Matthew. That would be great.
That'd be good. That'd be interesting.
Next question.
Yeah.
Do I need to do a silly voice for this?
No, just
Okay.
normal.
How does a guide dog? No, I want to do a silly voice.
Okay.
How does a guide dog know where they're going?
Now, how does a guide dog know where they're going? Now, I need to know where I'm going to instruct my dog. So we are taught by guide dog mobility instructors to enable us to be able to get out and familiarize ourselves with the routes that we want to know. So I have, I don't even know how many routes I have. I go to the train station, not that I use the train at the moment, but I've learned that route. I've learned a route into town, into the old town. Now, guide dogs are taught to walk in a straight line. And when they come to a curb, they either sit or they stand, depending on whether they are a London dog, because I suppose all London dogs stand, because obviously it's very crowded and busy, so we don't want the dog's tail to be trodden on. But Marty is a sitter. And
He's a what?
He's a sitter.
Oh, sorry, I thought you said that in a Scottish accent for a second.
Marty is a sitter.
How would Sean Connery say that? Marty is a sitter.
Lost my flow. I was getting into the swing of it. So we have to know our routes. We have to be able to instruct the dog and navigate and know our surroundings.
I'm a child. This is true. Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Can we just go back to these comments?
Okay.
I whispered into the microphone, I'm a child, but everybody knew that. We've got Franny says hello. Francesca Wyatt. Hi, Siobhan.
Oh, that might be Ricky, actually.
Marge Barge 100. We'll come on to the names of the dogs. I just want to say Matthew Smith. 3 cheers for Matthew, and I'll explain why. Okay. Hip, hip, hooray! Hip, hip, hooray! Hip, hip, hooray! Matthew says that he is subscribed.
Awesome.
And the reason Matthew is subscribed is he was already following you on your Twitter channel before. So Matthew, you're very welcome.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Please spread the word. We have Marge Barge 100. How long have you had your guide dog? It says guide dogs. I guess that's guide dogs. We'll say both. Okay. And what's their name? Let's do that very quickly. I've had Sammy since 2014. Before that, Chip from 2006 to 2014 when he retired. Before that, 1999 in August, I trained with Brandy, who retired in 2006. So in August, 22 years. Your turn.
Okay, so I'm going to go with my first guide dog. My first guide dog, Liza, I got back in 2003, and she retired in 2011. I then got my second guide dog, Mac, and I got him in 2011 until 2016. And then Marty, which is my current guide dog, I trained with him from 2019. And yeah, currently still got him.
He's sniffing the microphone. Can I just say, can we just say, hello, Ruby.
Hi, Rubes.
Hey, Ruby, how are you cracking on with your laptop?
Hope it's doing well.
Yeah, it better be. It better be. Ruby, hey, 3 cheers for Ruby. Hip, hip, hooray.
Hip, hip, hooray.
No, you just do the hooray bit.
Oh, hooray.
No, wait, hip, hip, hooray. Hip, hip, hooray. Hip, hip, hooray. Now, she says, yeah, I think that means the laptop's working well.
Yeah, good.
Or she wants to cheer for Ruby. So keep the questions coming, guys.
Yeah.
Do blind people pick up their... why do we get these questions? No, sorry. Do guide dogs pick up their guide dog's mess?
Do guide dogs pick up their...
No, do blind people...
Oh.
Do guide dogs pick up their blind person's mess? No, they would. Okay, do blind people?
Yes, we're trained to pick up our dog's poo. And
don't say that word.
I love the word poo. Let's just say poo.
No, let's not, because we're not monetized yet, but you'll get demonetized.
Okay, so yes, blind people do. However, we are exempt in law, but we are trained to pick up our dog's poo. And the reason and how I do that is the dogs go on command. So I'm not gonna. Well, I could say busy.
Oh no.
Okay. Oh no, did they? No, I'm joking. So the dogs.
You're gonna find out if they did. I'm about to throw it at
you. And the dog will indicate the curb or the gutter. And we will let the dogs spend there. And Marty will crouch, and I'll feel down his spine to the base of his tail, so I roughly know where it is I need to put the bag and pick up the mess and put it in the bin. So yes, I do pick up my dog's mess. I when they're free running, if I'm on my own, I have no idea, and again, I'm exempt by law.
Yeah, and she goes around exercising that exemption. I can tell you.
No, I don't.
Waves a card and says,
pick up
"I'm
my dog's
exempt. You can't
nest.
touch me."
I pick up
Like
my
MC
dog's
Hammer. She's like that bloke from Lethal Weapon 2. Okay, do you take your guide dog on holiday and on planes?
Yes, I do. Okay, so Liza wasn't I never actually did take her abroad, but I did take her on holidays in and around the UK. Mac, I actually did take him to Romania, and he worked so well. So he did go on a flight. And my third guide dog, Marty, I've taken him all over the country. We've taken him to the Isle of Wight when we did our staycation last year. I've taken him to Edinburgh, taken him to Bath, York. So yes, I do take him, and he's also been to Romania.
Scusatema.
Yeah.
Untitled Chapter.
Yes, a little bit.
Scusi.
Let me finish
Da,
asking the
Putin.
question. It's my YouTube,
Du te polima.
so I'm going to be a prima donna. So yes, Marty does. Not all dogs are able to, depending on the dog, depending on the client, the person. So for me, yes, I do take him abroad.
Okay, fantastic. Yes, to bine.
How that's going to work moving forward, I don't know.
Cred que no. Spunetime. I don't think so. Tell me, would you like another contribution from Marge Barge 100? She sponsors 2 guide dog pups.
Oh my gosh, you're amazing.
She loves the pups.
Thank you so much.
The pup dates.
Yeah.
Can we just explain, when we say pup dates, that's not a really dodgy thing someone does with a dog that they shouldn't and take them out for dinner. It's an update that they call a pup date, and you see what they've done. Anyway, she sponsored them for quite a few years. They're life changers, and she is in awe of them.
Oh, no, they're amazing, and they are life changing. And they've given me so much independence, confidence, and freedom. So thank you so much for sponsoring our wonderful pups.
Okay, well, the live stream's been going quite well. We're with you for about another 10 minutes, give or take, guys. So keep the questions going. If you like these live streams, we are going to try and do a little bit more. Let me tell you just a little bit about the setup that we've got here. When Siobhan gets somewhere in the region of 1,000 subscribers, we'll be able to do live streams on a mobile telephone out and about. In the meantime, excuse me, Diet Coke and other things that cause wind are available. We've got a burp, just in case somebody didn't hear that, because I'm kind of hearing in my ear that maybe you didn't. But we've got like a laptop hooked up to a professional camera and a proper audio sound kit hooked up to another laptop, which does the sound. I've got an iPad in front of me. I've got an iPhone, which is going into my ear, and I'm hearing, as I say, roughly about 3 seconds after I'm saying things, which is darn confusing. But we've got a few little questions and things we can kind of wrap up on. So if we've got those, let's have those in the comments below. We've kind of answered the question whether you prefer working with a guide dog or a white stick. So I suppose what I'll ask you instead is, how important is it to keep your long cane white stick skills up if you are a guide dog owner?
I'm glad that you put that one in, actually, because it was something that I wanted to definitely touch upon. Now, for me, it was essential that I actually kept up my cane skills, because I had a wait from when Mac retired. He retired early from the program, from guide work, and I did have to wait at least 2.5 years for a guide dog. So having my cane skills enabled me to be able to get out as independently as possible. I didn't like it. I felt restricted, and I felt that, I was very much more a prisoner in my own home. However, keeping those cane skills, that you can have the ability to go out. So definitely, if your guide dog might be sick, you might go on holiday and might not feel, that you can take your guide dog, or you go into a place where you might think it's not acceptable to take your dog, whether it's a nightclub or something like that. Not that you can do it at the moment, but moving forward. So yes, keeping up your cane skills is crucial. So make sure you do that. Don't just throw it under the stairs and never take it out. It will be very sad.
Francesca Wyatt, and I believe this would probably be Ruby, asks, when we meet again, can we make a YouTube video? No. Yes, I think we can, can't we?
Yes, we've got to definitely do that. Yes, we'll do one, because I think it'll be really fun. And because I'm also on TikTok, we can do some TikTok videos too.
Question here from Matthew Smith. Don't guide dogs insist that you have strong cane skills before they'll even let you have a guide dog? Molly Burke said this is the case in Canada. Can I take this one first?
You can take it.
So what they do in Canada, what they do in the UK, and I'll just say in the meantime, Ruby says, okay, you're the best.
Oh, bless you.
There's something called the International Guide Dog Federation. I declare an interest that I'm a trustee of something called the European Guide Dog Federation, but they're not be confused because EGDF is not a standards organisation, it's a membership organisation, school access and so forth. But IGDF is a membership organisation with guide dog schools right the way around the world, and they set a standard for training and so on. So lots of guide dog schools around the world, including those in the UK, would have very strong encouragement to keep your long cane skills up. Now in the UK, and obviously consult guide dogs on this one if you're in any doubt, but it's not that you have to be able to use a cane. It's very encouraged. You can also be okay at following on an arm, don't you, being sighted guiding?
Guided. Yeah, because it, like I say, you know, someone could potentially lose their sight quite quickly, going from maybe 20/20 sight vision and then all of a sudden having hardly anything. So, you know, they might not necessarily have cane skills, and they have to have that rehabilitation and orientation and mobility. So it's going to be very different for everyone. So it's, so we always, you know, say speak to guide dogs because they'll be able to give you more advice. But it is important to keep up cane skills if you've had and if you do have vision loss.
Now, stick with us, guys, for another 7 minutes and 19 seconds, roughly. I just want to quickly give a plug here to the fact that when you get to 1,000 subscribers, which is what you really need to do, you're going to be, I'm just going to press a button on the camera.
Not far off it, though.
Yeah, that's it. But what you're going to want to be doing, so I've just pressed a button on the camera just in case any focus, just the autofocus button. Probably didn't, by the way, but what we're going to try and do is do some kind of giveaway, aren't we? Celebratory giveaway of something. You're not going to say what it is, are we?
I'm not going to say what it is, but
it's
going to be something significant. So it's going to be two. So one for, you know, for children and young people, something, and then obviously one for adults. So it's going to be two categories, but they're going to be quite significant. When I do reach 1,000 subscribers, that would be good, a giveaway. So share the love, share the channel, spread the word, because I'm all about sharing too. You come to my channel, I want to give you something. I want you to come back and get something from it, not just watch, you know, me do lots of different content, but I'm going to do competitions on this channel. So keep it here. So
I'd like to play you a bit of audio now from Stephen Anderson, who is a very low vision guide dog owner with the charity Seeing Dogs Alliance. Now, he's been to court with a cab driver in and around guide dog alleged failure or refusal. So what we're going to do, we're going to listen to this, but it's just going to be an iPhone through. I'm going to have to take my. What am I going to? No, 1 minute. You're going to have to give me a second to do this. But what I'm going to do is, when this is played, I'm going to ask you what you think about it, and what you think about the notion of whether the person was or was not convicted when it came to a court situation and the rights and wrongs. Are we ready to listen, albeit it's going to be through a microphone? Are you ready, Siobhan?
I'm ready.
Here we go. Stand by. Oh, hang on a second. You are going to have to wait longer, because if I have my AirPod in, then it's monitoring the live feed, and that's not going to help us very much here at the second. Okay. Stand by. Cool, blimey, they don't do this on. It'll be all right on the night, do they? Right, okay, here we go. So here's the scene. Okay, stand by.
No, he doesn't. He's
1 second.
And
we're going to go back to the beginning. Here we go. No,
can take him, or in fact, you must take him.
No, I can't take him because when the dog is sitting, is making a very dirty car, you know.
No, he doesn't. He's very well kept, and you are required to take guide dogs. There is a difference between a pet and a guide dog. So he is a guide dog. You do have to take him.
You have to, yeah.
Yes.
You have to.
Yes.
You can't say to me, I have to. If you're telling me nicely, please take us, is different.
Are you aware it's a criminal offence?
If you're telling me you have
Are you aware it's a criminal offence?
Why?
It is a criminal offence.
It's no criminal offence.
It is a criminal offence.
Because this is my car, They say I don't have. I say I don't like the customer, for example, and then I don't take it.
Right, so you're prepared to go
If
down
the
that road?
customer have gun, knife, drug, everything.
I don't
Shall
have a
take-
gun, I
for
don't have drugs,
example,
I have a disability, that is the difference.
Yeah. Shall I, for example, guy have gun, for example.
Right, I'll ask you this question nice and simply. Are you refusing to take me on the basis that I have a disability?
Jumping in the car, I telling you. Otherwise, you telling me please nicely, is nothing problem.
Are you refusing to take me then?
All right, then show no problem.
And at this point, the vehicle drives off. Siobhan, just so I get my audio feedback, I wonder whether you'd just like to give me a bit of an instant reaction to that, and then I'll tell you what the case disposal is in a minute.
Oh, sorry, my blood was boiling. Do you know, it really upsets me. It really, really upsets me from my very core, because discrimination, I'm so wound up by it, because we just want to be able to live our life like anybody else, and it's our right to be able to access what anyone else is able to access. I happen to work with a guide dog, and I have been refused countless times in taxis and cabs, restaurants, supermarkets, and it really does knock your confidence. So my initial reaction is just outrageous, and like to suggest that this is the same, and the comparison of a gun and knife. No, it's a guide dog to enable me to be able to get out. Oh my goodness, sorry.
Well, the cab driver, the private hire driver who worked for Uber, do stick with us, guys. This is going to be slightly worth this. He found out that, in fact, it is a criminal offence. And I'm just trying to get, this is crazy what's happened with this new iPhone library thing. We're nearly there. Yes, he found out, of course, that it is indeed a criminal offence in order to refuse a guide dog. Let me try and find this blooming thing. Bear with me. Okay, so what happened to him? He was in magistrate's court. He was found guilty. He turned up with an interpreter. I mean, we heard him there. Did he sound like he was struggling to speak English?
No.
He was fined £300, ordered to pay £400 towards prosecution costs, £30 victim surcharge, and a £100 compensation order to Stephen Anderson. He found out that it was a criminal offence. It's an offence to fail or refuse unless someone's got
A medical exemption certificate.
an exemption.
Yeah.
So bear with us, guys. We may just carry on just a couple more minutes if we can. It's 7:32 p.m. at the time of live broadcast. We'd very much like you to subscribe if you haven't already. Stephen Anderson, I think, did a brilliant job there.
He did really good.
And he has lots of reasons why he might have struggled with that more. And I won't go into that. Maybe we can chat to Steve at some point.
But
he gave him every opportunity, didn't he?
He did give him every opportunity, and he stayed calm, and he said the reasons why he has to take him, because he's a guide dog. And I think it's really important to remain calm, because there's no point getting upset and stressed. Although I know it's a very difficult situation. I've been emotionally distressed because I've been stranded at different parts. But yes. Those sorts of things really do upset me, because it's just one of those things where discrimination really smacks you in the face.
Yeah, it was pretty grim, to tell you the truth. And he found out that it was a criminal offence. The thing that was sort of irritating me about it is say, no, you ask me nicely and I will decide.
Yeah, exactly. No,
it's not something about which you have a choice. It's a legal duty and a criminal offence. Interestingly, it's not a criminal offence if you refuse to have a guide dog in a shop, although it is actually unlawful in that sense. So it gets kind of interesting. So look, before we wrap up, let's just take a look at the comments, and we'll talk about other content on the channel, things you might want to watch. Yes, Guilty says Mars 100. Taxi firms should train up drivers regarding the law. Right, okay, now this guy wasn't a taxi. It's important to stress that. It's the same sort of thing. Minicab means they were private hire. And of course, there certainly is a licensing condition, so the driver should know the conditions of the license, right?
Yeah, they should do the terms and conditions. Yeah, definitely.
Well, and the law, the conditions of the license.
Exactly that.
Can you tell us the other sorts of content you'd find on your channel? I'm going to throw in there that you had the Train Museum in York, the National Railway Museum. And there's 3 things blind people wouldn't do. Do you remember that one?
Yes, I do. That was a comedy sketch. That was hilarious. I'm going to be doing some more of those. How I lost my sight. That was quite an emotional one. And the most embarrassing thing I've done as a blind person. Now that's quite a hilarious one. So definitely go and check out some of those, because I do talk a little bit about, you know, my vision loss, but also what I how I travel videos. So I've done Edinburgh, York, Bath.
Oh, I'm sorry, I've turned this music up too loud. So come back just a couple of seconds.
So there's so much on this channel already, and I want it to grow, but I want you guys to kind of like be instrumental in what you would like to see coming up on Blind Girl Vlogs. I've got some interviews that I'm gonna be doing with some great people, some doctors, some ophthalmologists. So yeah, let me know what you would like to see on this channel.
So thank you for sharing this, says Marge. And Lynn says music is drowning Siobhan out. Yes, we know that. Lynn, just to explain, the reason it is because I can't listen to it live at the moment. So now it's no longer drowning out. I'm fairly right in saying
Excellent.
that. It should be fine now. Okay, so that being the case, can you do a dance on YouTube? Asked Ruby. Yes, you can dance now.
What, now?
We're going to play out music,
You
and you're going to dance
dance?
until
Okay.
it stops.
I'm
You
gonna
dance.
do it for you, Ruby. Okay.
And bye, everybody. No, you need to sit down.
Oh.
You need to dance there.
Okay.
Okay, bye, subscribe. Siobhan will dance until this ends. Bye, everyone. Like and subscribe at Blind Girl Vlogs on YouTube, Twitter, and TikTok. Have you subscribed?